the City of Socorro City Council is set to begin. Gentlemen, please remove your hats, and everyone else, please silence all electronic equipment.
Unmuted.
No disruptive behavior or outbursts will be tolerated, and violators are subject to rejection and possible execution. La gente de la Concilidad de la Ciudad de Socorro está por empezar. Caballeros, favor, quítate tus cachuchas y sombreros, y todos, favor, de poner en silencio todo equipo electrónico. No se va a tomar ningún tiempo de comportamiento perjudicial o revoltoso. A quien no siga estas reglas, se las saca y puede ser infraccionados.
It is now 6:01 p.m. This meeting is called to order.
Mayor,
Yes, sir.
may I make a motion to delete item number 3 as kids are out of school today due to the weather?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos. Ms. Villalobos?
Yes, I'm sorry, I couldn't unmute.
Item number 2, Ms. Rodarte, would you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, ma'am.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Item number 4, Establishment of Quorum.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Here.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz Jr.,
Here.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes,
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Item number 5, Public Comment.
Mayor, we have 2 speakers. Our first speaker is Sal Chagoya. Mr. Chagoya, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good evening, Council. I wanted to come in person and talk about 3 items that have been bugging me as of late. The first one that I wanted to talk about was the Roberts Rule of Order. Mayor, you're the one that conducts and directs the meeting, and so there's 3 things that I did some research on. When there's public comment, an item that is not on the agenda cannot be discussed. So we had some kumbaya moments with Mr. Rodriguez when he was here. There were some words exchanged that were not factual. A factual statement can be given, but there was nothing factual because, again, I call it a kumbaya moment with Representative Colom Villalobos and Mr. Rodriguez when he was here. Second thing, an existing policy can be repeated. And the third thing is that when somebody speaks on public, that proposed item can be brought into the agenda. So just letting you know, Mayor, that you're the one that conducts the meetings, and so we just want to make sure that we're following Robert's Rule of Order. If you don't know what it is, look it up, Google it, it's there. But those are the 3 things that are there. Second thing that I wanted to mention was that I know that when I sign up, I put my cell phone number there. But on August the 3rd, when I spoke about the MPO, and that nothing has been brought to the agenda or to Socorro, I read the MPO backup. That's where I got my information. You, Mayor, texted me that you wanted to meet with me. Colom Villalobos was texting me while the meeting was being held, while it was in session. And so I have the text messages, so I do want to set up a meeting with the city manager, possibly with the attorney, if, because I do have a lot of information here that now, as we've had other speakers speak about the MPO, it now makes sense of why the mayor in Colombia Lobos wanted to debunk my factual points. And so I didn't appreciate, I never reached out to you guys in the sense for you guys to call me, to text me, but you guys took the liberty to do so.
Mr. Chagoya, your time is up.
Thank you.
Miriam Cruz.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. I'm not sure if I should turn on my video, but I will. So really quick, I just wanted to talk about actually one of the points that Mr. Chagoya brought up. I did find issue with letting Mr. Rodriguez speak for an unlimited amount of time when he was allowed to. I think most of the times whenever someone has asked to speak out of turn, there's always been a time limit placed on him, or on them, I'm sorry. And I feel like he should have gotten the same treatment. I was actually very annoyed at that meeting because I think he went on 15, 20 minutes. And I had been waiting for that meeting to, move on because I was going to speak on an item. And that item ended up being deleted. And so it was really frustrating for me to, one, not have been given some sort of heads up, right, that item was planning on being deleted. I think that council sometimes gets that heads up, and I would appreciate, and I think some of the public would appreciate that heads up if in case they're in fact signed up to speak on that item, that you all don't plan to, to speak on it, or at least that there's going to be a proposal to delete it, because obviously maybe the proposal doesn't pass. And so I just ask that, again, as I've been doing for many years, that we treat everyone equally and not give, special treatment to, anyone, really. I think we should all be treated the same. And I think that includes previous council members that want to go on. And so I think he even mentioned at the beginning when he made that request that he only wanted 5 minutes or something like that. But because you guys didn't put a limit, he just went on and on. And I know that's particularly frustrating because you all do have a lot of items, especially today, a lot of important things to discuss. And I just don't think it makes sense to allow someone to go on and on about something because he also repeated himself many, many times and was saying the same thing over and over again. And I think at that point also, Mayor, with all due respect, that would have been a good opportunity for you to, say, there's nothing new being said. We've given you your chance. Let's wrap it up, right? But I would just point that out to that as a constituent that attends these meetings frequently, that definitely was a point of frustration. Thank you.
Mayor, those were all our speakers.
Thank you.
Mayor? May I make a motion to move up items 23 to 29 and 34?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 23, discussion and action to reappoint Julie Dominguez, Andrew Arroyos, David Estrada, Miriam Cruz, Enrique Cisneros, and Ernest Gomez to the Planning and Zoning Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes. And can somebody repeat the items we moved up so I can just pull them from my file? I'm sorry. I didn't hear all the numbers.
23 through 29 and 34.
Thank you.
Item number 24, discussion and action to reappoint Emmanuel Nevares, Rodrigo Arras, Jasmine Mendoza, Jesus Chaides, David Oropesa, Robert Renteria to the Board of Adjustments Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2024.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Mayor, sorry. If I may disclose, Mr. Nevares is at no relation to me.
Thank you.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 25, discussion and action and update. Everyone is up to date on building and standards until 2023. District 1, 3, and Mayor currently have vacancies.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 26, discussion and action to reappoint Albert Ortiz, Alex Miranda, Andres Chavez, Claudia Olmos, Ruben Garcia, Carlos Ortiz to the Civil Service Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2026.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 27, discussion and action to reappoint Diana Nunez, Roxanne Jurado, Gina Cordero, Ruben Garcia, Howard Capshaw to the Ethics Review Board of Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2026.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 28, discussion and action to reappoint Mary Perez, David Estrada, Andrew Apodaca, Ricardo Rocha to the Historical Landmark Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2026.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 29, discussion and action to reappoint Finance Director Charles Casiano, City Manager Adriana Rodarte, Council Representative Ivan Colombia Lobos, Council Representative Ruben Reyes to the Public Finance or Investment Board of Commission from February 3rd, 2022 through December 1st, 2026.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 34, discussion and action to approve the appointment of Jorge Estrada to the Ethics Commission, Place 2.
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Mayor, you can now swear them in.
Judge Salas Mendoza, are you there?
Yes, ma'am.
Will you go ahead and swear Ms. Cruz in, please?
Yes, ma'am. Ms. Cruz, if you'll raise your right hand and be sworn. I state your name.
I, Miriam Cruz,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
of the Planning and Zoning Commission
of the Planning and Zoning Commission
of the City of Socorro, Texas,
of the City of Socorro, Texas,
and will to the best of my ability
and will to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws
the Constitution and laws
of the United States and of this state.
of the United States and of this state.
Great. You want me to do the statement too? Yes?
Yes, please. Right, Ms. Mayor?
I couldn't hear what they said.
That we're going to
There's
do.
Yes,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I state your name.
I, Miriam Cruz,
Do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
that I have not directly or indirectly paid,
offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay,
contributed,
contributed,
or promised to contribute
or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public or employment
or promised any public or employment
as reward to secure my appointment
as reward to secure my appointment
or confirmation thereof.
or confirmation thereof.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Judge.
Alrighty.
Congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for appointing me.
If we can have the other members of the boards that are going to be sworn in, would you please stand up? Would you please step up to the front? Would you please?
Testing, testing.
Would you please raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of the City of Socorro, Texas, and will to the best of my ability preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution and the laws of the United States and of this state. Please keep your right hand raised and repeat after me. I, please state your name. Do solemnly swear or affirm that I have not directly or indirectly paid, offered, promised to pay, contributed, or promised to contribute any money or thing of value, or promised any public or employment as reward to secure my appointment or confirmation thereof. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Ms.
Ms.
Villalobos?
Mayor? Ms. Mayor, can you hear me? Hello, Ms. Mayor, can you hear me? Can anyone hear me? Hello? Can you guys wave if you can hear me?
We can hear you.
Oh, okay. Ms. Mayor,
Yes.
can I just thank these gentlemen and these board members for continuing? May I?
Yes, go ahead, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'm sorry I'm not there in person. I hopefully will be there soon after my next surgery. But, which is coming soon, but I wanted to thank every single one of you for sticking around. I see a couple of members that have been here for a long time. Thank you so much. I know it's not easy, but you're doing important work, and we really, truly appreciate it. I know I do, so I wanted to thank you personally for coming in, swearing in, and continuing the good work. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Moving on to presentations, item number 6, presentation by the Rio Grande Council of Governments Executive Director Annette Gutierrez.
Mayor, may I?
Yes, Mr. Cruz?
Okay. This is my agenda item that I'm bringing to the table today. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I'm going to state briefly here the reasoning why the City of Socorro should hold a voting seat at the Rio Grande Council of Governments. So through the participation of our city at the COG, this will provide a voting seat aside from the current general membership that we hold right now. And being at the COG, it's going to be an essential resource to the success of our city through the technical assistance, trainings, grant applications, and funding requests. The City of Socorro can also make advantageous strides towards the allocations of other funding sources other than those from our grants department. The City of Socorro relies very heavily on grants, and I feel that holding a voting seat at the COG is going to enable the city to allocate some of those funds that are coming down from the state level here. And I've been in contact with Ms. Annette Gutierrez, who's on the air with us today, and I want to thank you for joining us today, Ms. Gutierrez. Go ahead and take it away.
All right, well, thank you so much. First, I want to apologize for not being in person. I thought just out of an abundance of caution, I would present from my home due to the weather. But I just wanted to just take a few moments of your time because I know how busy these city council meetings are. Just as a reminder who we are and why we think this is a great idea for you all to be part of the board of directors of the Rio Grande Council of Governments. So my name is Annette Gutierrez. I'm the executive director for the council. I've been with the organization since 1999, and I've been serving as the director since 2009. And so with our organization, it's member driven. We have members of local governments who participate within the organization. And so we cover a 6-county region in far west Texas. Those counties briefly include Brewster, Culberson, El Paso, Hudspeth, Jeff Davis, and Presidio. And then we also have Doña Ana County and Las Cruces as member governments of ours as well. The way that councils of governments are utilized in Texas primarily is through what we call pass-through funding. The state of Texas receives funding from several funding agencies on the federal side. Those monies then flow through to state agencies, and then in turn, those state agencies pass that funding along to councils of governments, where we in turn work with our communities in utilizing those resources. One of the greatest or the largest divisions that we have at the Council of Governments is the Area Agency on Aging. And so Mr. Victor Reta is a great partner of ours through the Senior Nutrition Program. And so that's one of the programs that you may recognize that in terms of familiarity and what we do. That's one of the ones that where we pay for the meals, but we coordinate with the City of Socorro in terms of the meal planning and what we're going to be paying per meal, as according to the rules and regulations that have been set forth for us. Now, in my discussion with Representative Cruz, it really is a no-brainer, and I apologize for not having thought of this sooner. I think that maybe like you may be sharing the same situation in terms of COVID. We are lucky enough just to get in front of the next day in terms of what we're dealing with, and so I think I had a little bit of that short-term vision as opposed to long-term. And so what I would like to do, and just to inform you all, is that at our next Board of Directors meeting, which will be February 25th, I will be presenting an agenda item to form a bylaws committee. With that committee, I anticipate that the board would approve that. We would then gather volunteers from the board to look at our current bylaws and see what items need to be revised. Currently, the structure is such that the committee, the board members are that we have 3 members from El Paso County, 3 members from the city of El Paso, our 5 county judges from the rural areas. We have a member who represents the smaller communities in El Paso County. That right now is being held by Alderman David Cantu. We also have a counterpart to him in the rural areas. And we also have a member of the Isleta del Sur tribe, the governor. We have membership from the El Paso Community College. And then we also have El Paso Independent School District and a special district. And so what we'll be looking at is how we want to revamp. I will be asking to revamp that structure to where we can have a permanent seat for City of Socorro. Like I said, it makes sense. You all are the second largest city in the county, and your population is vast. Your needs are different than the other communities. And so I think that it would make the most sense to have you all at the table. We have been lucky enough to have Mayor Avalos serve on our board of directors as a proxy for several board meetings. And so Mayor Avalos has had at least an introduction to what the board of directors meetings are like. And so that's something that I just want to let you all know and to avail of you of that information that I will be presenting to our board of directors. And then also, just in addition to that, there have been discussions also in terms of our other committee memberships, looking at ways and how we might be able to structure that to see if there's any opportunities for City of Socorro members to participate. The final thing that I will leave you with is that with our board of directors, the structure is such that only elected officials are allowed to serve on the board. And so just envisioning that this would go forward, the process would be that we have this bylaws that we propose, we're going to revise, we're going to get that approval from the board of directors. And then once that's completed, we'll present this to our general membership in September of 22. And then come October, our first board meeting for fiscal year 23, we anticipate that there will be a board seat for City of Socorro at that time. Are there any questions for me in terms of the programs that we operate, or just the potential timeline that we're looking at for membership to our board of directors?
Ms. Gutierrez, I do have a question. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then I'm going to ask for you to stay online for the next agenda item because it does pertain to the COG, but on a different committee, and I think you can help us out with that. Okay,
Sure.
so you don't foresee Socorro holding a seat until 2023 if the revisions are made in September. I was under the impression that October Socorro can hold a seat, but you're saying 2023?
Oh, well, I'm saying fiscal year 23,
Gotcha.
but the actual calendar year will be October of 2022. this year.
Understood. Okay, thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Motion to approve?
Second.
It's a presentation.
No. I got a question. To get the seat, do we have to bring it back as an item? Or,
Correct, so once it gets approved, then we would place an item on the agenda to appoint somebody from council to
Okay.
sit at that board.
thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, Ms. Gutierrez.
Thank you.
Item number 7, presentation and update on MPO and TxDOT projects by Eduardo Perales and Raul Ortega.
Did we miss one? The CJAC for Chief Burton? Mayor,
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is also my agenda item, and I'd like to bring it up here. Just bear with me here, if you don't mind. Okay, so as promised, as being appointed to the MPO, I did promise to this council and the residents of Socorro that I will be providing periodic updates at what's taking place at the MPO level. But at the same time, I reached out to the gentleman from TxDOT, and I appreciate y'all coming down here, especially on the snowy day, right? The snow only lasted 2 hours, but you guys are here. They're going to update the residents and this council on what improvements have been made in our area and what's coming along for the future. And they've also requested an update on all projects that are currently taking place here in Socorro, so that way we're getting direct information from TxDOT. Go ahead, gentlemen.
Sure. Mayor, Council, just want to thank you for the invitation again, like you said, for providing this TxDOT update for the city of Socorro. So my name is Eduardo Perales. I am the, okay, sorry, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me or?
Yeah, or take your mask
All
off.
right. Excuse me?
Or take it off if you don't mind.
That'll work. That works a little better. So again, my name is Eduardo Perales. I am the Director of Traffic Operations for the El Paso District. And we're going to go into a two-phase presentation really quick. The first one, I'm in charge of all of the operational improvements that for the district and safety projects. So it ranges a little bit more in a small to a medium scale project. Again, operational, meaning more of the mobility for the traveling public. And then safety, obviously, we are in depth to going into the end of streak, which we've had a fatality in our roadways since November of 2001 every day. So we want to end that streak. Again, it ranges from our speed limits to our traffic signals to our pedestrian safety. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that. So again, on these types of projects that we have, this is a little bit busy. I'm going to go a little bit more in depth. This is what we have going on throughout the city. First one, I want to go ahead and talk about the synchronization of our signals that we have along the three main corridors, which is Socorro, Alameda, and North Loop. Synchronization, it's kind of what it is as far as having all the signals working together. We do counts, and it takes a feasibility study that goes through the corridor. The first one we did is Socorro Road. We implemented this one in November of last year, sorry. And it just goes from Wynn Road all the way to Herring. Go ahead on the second one. The second one is North Loop. So in North Loop, we have from Inglewood up to Horizon. Okay, this one, again, we implemented that one in November as well. And then that third one, which is Alameda, we just started that implementation this week, as a matter of fact. That one goes from Nevares all the way to the cutoff, which is FM 1111. So again, we're in that pattern. We're in that phase of evaluating. Traffic patterns have changed, so we have gotten a lot of calls about our constituents out here in Socorro that they're not working properly. It's been a big change. And like I said, the important thing is we try to reach the peak hours, morning and afternoon, and we try that plateau on these roadways to move a lot faster, obviously in the AM peak, going towards Loop 375, and afternoon peak coming back to the city of Socorro. We're still tweaking them, like I said. There's a lot of implementation going on. We have this week finalized the implementation, and then we'll move forward with having them a little bit better synchronized. These projects that we have here in the screen are called HSIP, which is our Highway Safety Improvement Program. This is all related to safety. They're funded projects in which they come out of the fatalities that we have and the serious injuries that we have. Just really quick, on Alameda, we have the raised median project that is under construction right now. We have another raised median coming up that is going to go from Rio Grande to Passmore. That's on the left side of the screen. And then on the top right, we do have a funded signal that is currently letting this July up in Horizon and Stockyard. We're going to redo the signal and the pedestrian elements as well right there by the McDonald's. And then on North Loop at Bauman, this is something that has been in the works for a long time. We do worry about funding, where it comes from. So this is funded already, and it's programmed for the July of '24, in which we plan to push it up to '22 for several reasons, and we're trying to do that right now. We just got funded, like I said, for '24, but we're trying to push it because of the school that's going on, that we have there, and all the pedestrian elements that we have. And then that last one on the bottom right, we just got approved for safety lighting of all of North Loop, and that goes from, Horizon all the way to 1111. It's a very good project. We have some dangerous curves, and we just want to light it up. And this next one, these are just additional projects, small projects that they're not funded. We go ahead and in-house, we do our design and our engineering house in traffic, and then we do the implementation. Just really quick, on the top right, we did already in 2019 lowered the speed along North Loop from 55 to 45. We get a lot of those requests of lowering the speeds. The bottom right is something that we're constantly doing right now. We're providing the signs on our traffic signals where a lot of them were missing. We used to have the internally illuminated signs that have gone out, and they don't make them anymore, not even the parts, so we've been slowly replacing them. We had some calls about North Loop, and then instead of saying North Loop, it has LP, so we've been changing a lot of those, block numbers as well. Then the top left, we are in the process of doing a speed study along FM 258, which is Socorro Road, and we get a lot of that as well. I'll touch a little bit more on that on the next slide. And then we have a little business district right here by, it's close to I think we have a brewery and a restaurant. So we're looking at some treating for pedestrian safety right there. Again, all this is in-house. And with that, at Buford, we've analyzed that intersection. It does warrant for a signal. That's the first thing that we would need to do. It doesn't mean that we're going to install it. There's a lot of challenges there. Right away is always an issue on Socorro Road, but we are looking at that. Okay. So again, I know this is very busy, but if you take a look at the bottom where it's color-coded, this is the speeds along Socorro Road, and it just varies so much, going from 30 on the blue to the left, and then goes all the way to 40, 50, back to 40, 44. So what we're trying to do is on the very bottom, we're just going gradually the increase. It just takes a lot of work. We do counts. We do count all the driveways, the streets, and then we got to send to division. So we already sent for comments to division. We're just waiting, and then as soon as they're approved and we get them in, we send our maps to our commission in Austin, and then we do the implementation in-house. And really quick, this last one is what I was talking about as far as the business district that we have over there on Socorro Road. So we're looking at installing some flashers and maybe that traffic signal right there at Buford. There's a big angle that comes into place. It comes at an angle, plus there's a big horizontal curve. We understand there's a lot of pedestrians movement right here, so we're in the works, and we're talking to the property owners right there, and we're doing our part, and that should, hopefully within the next few months, we'll have something out there. And with that, I'll hand it over to Raul.
Thank you, Eduardo. Mayor, Council, my name is Raul Ortega. I'm the Director of Transportation Planning and Development for the El Paso District TxDOT. So Eduardo did a really good job of doing a deep dive in what he's looking at, his office is looking at in terms of operation. So I'm gonna zoom out a little bit and provide a little bit more of a general TxDOT update for you all. Okay, so this first slide here, if you're not all aware, but we do have a project tracker, and I have the link there for you. You can easily search any section, of the state in what projects are ongoing from a 2-year construction standpoint to all the way to a 10-year and to a corridor study standpoint. So it's a lot of good information that can be found in the project tracker. So I do really highly encourage the use of this link here. Okay, next slide, please. All right, next is just big picture stuff. So our east area, area office, they handle all the east, Hudspeth, and some of Culberson County. And so Socorro does fall under our East Area Office for construction projects. So I just kind of wanted to give an idea of, how many projects we have in construction right now in our East area. Next slide, please. Same thing for the West area. We have several projects going on in the western part of our district. Next slide here. And here just totals. So we have a total of 57 projects out in construction right now from our Alpine area office, East area, and our West area. Totaling over $600 million of projects in construction as of right now. So every month we let new projects, so that amount just increases. Here on this slide, you're gonna see our letting volumes per fiscal year for the entire district, for the 6 counties that we take care of for the El Paso district. So fiscal years, I just want to point the attention to fiscal years 22 and 23. So those are subject to change. Some projects do shift around, but they're looking pretty healthy. We're in the $300 million range, $300+ million range on those 2 fiscal years. So it is looking pretty healthy for the El Paso district. Next slide. All right, so I know this project's outside of the Socorro area, but we all know I-10 is a big feeder to all the sections of El Paso. So our I-10 Connect project at the Spaghetti Bowl, just want to give an update that it's substantially completed already. That's a major milestone for us. This is a $97 million project that we let back in 2018. So we're really proud of this project. So if you haven't seen it already, go check it out, go drive it. It's really beautiful. Another one, and again, it's outside of the Socorro area, but this network obviously feeds traffic into the Socorro area. This is Loop 375 from the Bob Hope area all the way to the Zaragoza port of entry. And so you could see several projects there on this network map here. But really what the intent of this project is really to get those trucks off of Loop 375 that was creating such a safety hazard. And so in partnership with the city of El Paso, which they had their Win Road project, we've been pretty successful of getting those trucks off of Loop 375 and eliminating the safety hazard there on Loop 375. Next slide. So from that network, this is a phase of construction that we are in right now. And it's pretty much widening the main lanes to 3 lanes in each direction from Bob Hope to the port of entry. And so that project is ongoing. That has a construction cost of about $75 million. So that one, we do have about a 3.5-year time frame for construction. So, you'll see a lot of traffic control going on in that area, but that is what's going on is the widening and also the widening of the bridges at each of the intersections. Okay. And here's a picture here. So on the top left, to get your orientation there, this is Loop 375. Top left is the Walmart. And so obviously a lot of traveling public utilize that exit ramp on Alameda to come down to Socorro. So being able to separate the traffic from the main lanes to exit on Alameda and creating frontage roads also eliminates the traffic, the safety hazard there. So that's a picture of the 2 frontage roads, and you can see the main lanes there in the middle. So the one that's going northbound towards the bottom of the screen, that's currently what's in construction right now. The one going southbound is already open to construction. Okay, here's one of the projects that we have, and it's also a regional mobility strategy project with the El Paso MPO, and it's the widening of the main lanes on I-10 from East Lake to Horizon. So that project already let. It's about to start construction. It was an $18 million project. They let back in August, so you'll see some construction activities starting up here pretty soon. But it is going to help, added capacity in this area is definitely going to help. As you all know, there in the East Lake area, right by our office, it's just really grown so much with all the new development out there, and also with the Amazon distribution center there. Okay. So Mr. Perales already touched on some of this. So some of the safety projects that we were able to put out for construction. So we put out quite a bit of raised medians, safety lighting, and pedestrian enhancement, safety enhancements. Two of the projects that we put out that's, particularly in the Socorro area is, of course, the Alameda, just east of or just south of the Loop 375 between Inglewood and Passmore is one. Also on Horizon from North Loop to FM 1110 is another section of these safety projects. Right. Here we did pull a list of all the projects that we have, at least short term, all the way to 2024 in terms of projects that we have with already construction funds for it. I did highlight the local let projects, so we are working closely with the city of Socorro in terms of working with their consultant. So the reason why TxDOT's involved is there's federal money involved. So we have federal oversight over those projects, but those are the projects that we work closely with the city of Socorro. This is one of them, Rio Vista Bridge Replacement Project. That one did get replacement funds. That's our category 6. That's our bridge replacement funding category. And this project is being designed and being led by the city of Socorro. We do have, TxDOT has federal oversight, and we are working with the city of Socorro's engineer on this one. So this one has a let date of July of 22. Next slide. And also Bovi Bridge Replacement is another local let project that we're working with the city of Socorro. Again, our role is our federal oversight, and this project's also set to let in July of 22. Has $1 million of Category 6 funds. Here's a quick snapshot of the El Paso MPO Regional Mobility Strategy. And so it involves all the local entities, TxDOT, and all the regional priority projects that's on this list. And just to give you an update here, next slide please. We have four keystone projects that we have throughout the city. And this is also aligns with the regional mobility strategy. And here I just really wanted to provide you take the opportunity to provide the update of these keystone projects that we have and just give you guys a general update. Next slide. First one is ArtCraft. So this one is funded for construction. So over there in ArtCraft through the Santa Teresa Port of Entry, we are getting some oversight loads passing through there that are eventually getting onto I-10. So this project is going to alleviate and help that situation by us designing and constructing some direct connect ramps. Currently, we do have it set for a May 23 letting for construction. We are currently evaluating that timeline due to the environmental studies scheduled to be cleared towards the later part of this calendar year, and still the potential need for right-of-way acquisition and utility relocation, so we are reevaluating that. And that's a picture of one of the wind blades that passed there. So you'll see that's off of ArtCraft and I-10. Okay, next one is Borderland Expressway. This one, what we did is we were pretty strategic about the funding on this one, so we did break it up into 3 different phases so that we could go ahead and clear the environmental and start and continue with the project development process. So phase 1 is the one that's closest to let for construction, and phase 1 would be the frontage roads that you see there in the middle, and that one's a $20 million job. Next one's our Downtown 10 project. So here I just provided the milestones. We're pretty busy on this project. You all have heard. So we do have a 55-mile corridor study. Segment 2, which is the downtown section, Executive Tocopia, is the first segment that we're working on the preliminary engineering phase, which is NEPA process and the schematic design. So we are scheduled to have an environmental clearance fall of 2023 on this project. Next slide. Here's just a sneak peek of the actual renderings that are still under development, but here it gives you a picture of the actual project. There's the preferred alternative has not been selected for this project. We have 3 viable alternatives currently, along with the no build, but here are some renderings, and they are subject to change. The project team is still refining the design on this. And here is the website to the Downtown 10 webpage. We do have an email address should anybody have comments or questions that they would like to submit to the project team. Corridor studies. So these 7 corridor studies we have complete. We have the Reimagine I-10. We have the Horizon already complete, and the Alameda corridor study already complete. So from those corridor studies, there have been identified short, mid, and long-term projects for a lot of improvements throughout those areas, and that's where we pull the projects put them into consideration for funding, then they go out to construction. So that's kind of the first step before anything happens in terms of the studies. Next one, future corridor studies. So the ones I have highlighted pertain to the city of Socorro. So next in line, we have the Border Highway East feasibility study. There has already been conducted a preliminary engineering linkage study. So the next phase of that will be an actual feasibility study. We're looking to start that towards the end of this calendar year. So the limits between there, within the Border Highway East would be from Loop 375 to Nuevo Hueco Tanks, from Nuevo Hueco Tanks to Arterial 1, and then Arterial 1 to Tornillo Port of Entry. And also, we're just recently kicking off our North Loop corridor study, which would be from Horizon to Alameda. Okay, so, you know I went through a lot of information, but I really wanted to take this opportunity to provide a general update from TxDOT, you know, to stay informed, you know, follow us on Twitter, on Facebook, and of course, our webpage.
Greatly appreciated, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I have questions.
Ms. Villalobos?
Or one question. I have one question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for the presentation, by the way. I really enjoyed it. I was hoping to hear any expansion between Horizon and on North Loop and I guess Clint. My district is District 4. Most of my a lot of my district, let's just say, is on that growing, barely growing two-way traffic. I get constantly from our constituents that actually have been here for many years that why don't they expand? You know, why didn't they bring it all the way? And I said, well, there has to be studies. You know, you have to bring the community, I mean, the people first, and then, you know, there's development. You don't do development and then you bring the people. Not in this case. So my question to you, I know that you talked about putting street lights that we need on North Loop. It's very dark. You're absolutely right. Thank you for that. You talked about expanding somewhere in Bovey or not Bovey, I'm sorry, Bauman. Are you guys looking at that area, or do we need to get together as a community and come and express to you how important it is that we now need a four-way? Let me just tell you a quick, just really quick. When there's an accident and it's across the two lanes, we have to find other avenues to come home. We could be a minute away from home, but it could take us a whole hour to get to home. Does that make sense? We don't have a two-way. We don't, you know, anyways, I can go on and on. Can you guys expand on that?
Yeah, so the Bauman intersection is already under design. We're at 90%. The only thing that we lacked is the funding, which it's now funded. We first had to meet warrants. Warrants are based on accident data, which I'll be honest, it's a very tough warrant to meet. It has 5 fatalities in 1 year, which we definitely don't have. But now we met with a number of cars that go through that intersection. So with that, it's going to create some gaps for all that intersections east and west of Bauman, especially closer going towards Horizon. So we do get called a lot. Like I said, we have installed the safety illumination, and that signal is going to help tremendously on the safety part. So we're under design, and like I said in the presentation, we're hoping we could even speed up the process and hopefully get in by next year.
Okay, how about the four-way lane? Continue from Horizon on North Loop to Clint. Let's just say that. Clint, Tornillo, Fabens.
I'll let Raul expand on that. That's part of expanding, continuing North Loop with 4 lanes east of Horizon.
Right, so as I mentioned in my presentation, so we are looking to kick off already our North Loop corridor study. And so from that corridor study, that is the first step before we can get it into a project. Of course, being able to do a widening is added capacity. So it's a little bit more of a larger project, but definitely the feasibility study is the first step, and we're taking that step right now. And we'll be more than happy to continue to provide you updates as that corridor study progresses.
Thank you. Thank you for the information, sir.
Mr. Ortega and Mr. Perales, I want to thank you all again for coming down to our city and providing this update. We look forward to a continued partnership with our city alongside TxDOT. We got plenty of development coming up in the future, and it only makes sense to brief you all as well from a city to let you know of future expansion and growth, so that way you all can plan for the future and building those the infrastructure that's needed for transportation. So thank you all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a motion to move item 38 on up, since we have Ms. Annette Gutierrez still on the line.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 38, discussion and action to approve the appointment of City of Socorro Police Chief Burton to the Rio Grande Council of Governments Criminal Justice Advisory Committee, CJAC.
Motion to approve.
Second.
So the item that I'm bringing here today is to appoint our Police Chief Burton to the CJAC, also known as the Criminal Justice, God, I forgot that, Criminal Justice Advisory Committee.
Justice
Thank you.
Advisory Committee.
Thank you, everyone. Also a committee that's part of the Rio Grande Council of Governments. So the reason why I wanted to get this one out of the way while we still had Ms. Gutierrez on the line here, I did reach out to Ms. Quintanilla, and I understand that this committee is made up of disciplines such as education, behavioral health, criminal justice, but at the same time, I also noticed that there's individuals who currently serve on this committee, and it only makes sense to have the second largest city in the county of El Paso have a seat at the table. And I believe that if Chief Burton was to sit on this table, he's going to be able to review and comment on proposed projects and also grant applications concerning criminal justice in our area. This goes to the Rio Grande Council of Governments Board of Directors. It's also going to help out with the request of additional funding to help offset operational costs to the city of Socorro. Our city is growing, hence the reason why we need to have a seat at the CJAC, because our police force will also need to grow with our city. Ms. Gutierrez, I just wanted to reach out to you, and I know that the CJAC is not your thing. I know that Ms. Quintanilla, and I reached out to her, but I think that you can also provide some insight on how we would be able to hold a seat at the CJAC.
Yes, what I can do is I will relay this information back to Ms. Quintanilla, and we'll look and see where we can, if at all, get a place for the chief. Our next meetings that are coming up will be in April. And so what happens customarily is that the membership is submitted to the Public Safety Office in Austin in October. And that's one of the due dates that they require out of our planning grant. And so we will have the discussion with the PSO to ask them, how would that work if we were able to bring an additional member to the CJAC? We also would have to have that as an agenda item to ask the CJAC themselves for approval to recommend to the board. And then the board would then review that membership and approve it. And so I think that would be something that we would be working on in March. Actually, we would actually be doing it, we'd have to be doing it in March, and I'm not sure how we will work that out with the CJAC committee, since they're not scheduled to meet till April for that meeting. So there's some logistics that we need to work on, but we'll definitely bring you back with that information to let you know what that timeline would look like.
Thank you so much.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Item number 8, presentation by city manager regarding December 2021 monthly report.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's presentation.
Presentation.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I will provide you some department highlights for the month of December. Our municipal courts department collected $45,819, received 302 citations from Socorro PD, 9 from the Department of Public Safety, 7 animal control, and 28 ordinance violation citations. Our HR department did not have a civil service meeting. There was no items to discuss. We had 4 separations, 1 in public works, 2 communication dispatchers, and 1 police officer. We did have a lateral move of Myrna Workman, animal and code enforcement lead. For the Parks and Public Works Department, they participated and assisted with the Winterfest event and parade. Also assisted in the filing and placement of the luminarias on Socorro Road. There were 4 pothole repairs, 1 guardrail replacement and on Bovia and Alameda, and there was new lighting for Rio Vista Park. They also installed waste stations, dog waste stations at Las Valles Park, Jardín de Flores, and also leveled the entrance at Cougar Park. They continue with a systematic approach for weed control and maintenance. Our police department received 1,299 calls for service, made 26 arrests, and officers continue to attend training to keep them in compliance with the certification of TCLO. Our city clerk department prepared agendas and minutes for meetings scheduled on December 9th and December 20th, received 41 open records, and responded to 43. Our planning and zoning department collected $13,000, issued 129 permits, 7 registrations, 5 applications, and 33 letters. Code enforcement issued 173 notice of violations, 95 cases were cleared, issued 19 citations. Our animal controls received 172 calls for service, 26 impounded animals, and 11 citations were issued. For our recreations department, they conducted 240 senior welfare calls, participated and hosted the Binational Conexión Expo. The Winterfest and Parade were a complete success. There was no HLC meeting due to lack of quorum, and kept up with all social media platforms, media inquiries, and press releases. Our IT department was under phase 3 of the new public computer stations at Chayo Apodaca, assisted with all city council and commission meetings, and troubleshooted all IT-related issues throughout the city departments. Our grants department was awarded $750,000 to the Community Initiative, nonprofit organizations from Andrew Mellon Foundation, submitted application to the National Trust for Historic Preservation, telling the Full History Preservation Fund requesting $50,000 for 1 full-time public humanities coordinator. Reconciled and submitted reimbursements requests totaling $325,000 for the city's CARES Act expenditures to El Paso County, provided stormwater management training to municipal employees, and our city auditor is planning a fuel management system internal audit for fiscal year 2021. And that completes our highlights. Do you all have any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to consent agenda.
Motion to consent agenda?
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to our regular agenda. Item number 17, public hearing of an ordinance approving the rezoning of Lot 2, Block 1, Valle Sereno, Tract 25A, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Tracts 24B1, 25B3, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Tract 25A, 1A, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential, and a variance of the front yard setback to allow for a 10-foot setback and a variance of the rear yard setback to allow for a 15-foot setback with conditions to limit the density to single-family homes and provide 20-foot driveways. It is now 7:04 p.m. Public hearing is open.
Mayor, we have a speaker for this item? Actually, two. Gilbert Limas.
Good evening,
My name is Gilbert Limas. I'm a resident of Socorro. I've been for the last 28 years. I currently reside at 421 Buford Road. So this piece of property that we're looking at actually is about 600 feet next to my property, from the south side all the way to the west side. All right, so the purpose of the zone, it's already in R1. And of course, you know that the zone for this is single-family dwelling units. And they want to change it to an R2, which is the purpose of the zone is to provide a mixture of single-family and multi-family dwellings to a maximum density of 15 dwellings per acre. This area back here is 4.5 acres. So you're looking at approximately 60 to 70 dwellings. Was mentioned last week at City Council meeting was 2.5 vehicles per household. You're looking at approximately 90 vehicles, or 170 vehicles. I have a petition signed by 65 plus members of the community that reside in that area that I submitted to the Planning and Zoning Commission last Friday that object to the rezoning of this development. As Mr. Galinas stated at the last council meeting, R1 should not be on major thoroughfares, which this one is not, so the development is already zoned properly. Just like Ms. Colon Villalobos also stated at the last council meeting, we do not need smaller lots for residential houses. The developer is not worried about traffic control. He builds and will leave. Also, she also stated we should stick to what our ordinance says and stop approving these variances. That is why we got rid of R3 variances, or R3 zoning. At the P&Z meeting also, Mr. Escobar, who is a developer, stated that if he doesn't get the rezoning that he wants to develop, he will just leave. He will develop the property that's on, can't remember the name of the street, that's off of Paynes. Just because that's a separate zone, that's a separate property, he will just develop that house and leave if he doesn't get the zoning that he wants. The infrastructure for Buford Road, especially on Saladon and Uranaga, are not designed to support the amount of traffic that this rezoning will bring about. With the increase of vehicular and pedestrian traffic that comes with this rezoning, we have schools and a park that people in this community walk to now and have to deal with the increased hazard. They state they're going to make another park. We already have a park, half a mile from my residence. Buford Park, or Bulldog Championship Park. They want to allow setbacks on the variances. Setbacks means the distance between a wall or any projection of the building and the property line, excluding steps and enclosed patios. They want to decrease that to 10 feet. 10 feet from the property line, from the house. That does not include the patio that they want to build, a fancy patio next to the house. With that, crimes of opportunity then will increase with the theft of personal property and increase of porch pirates of goods delivered by UPS, USPS, FedEx, and soon Amazon. There's also an irrigation ditch that's on the far west side of my property that's been covered up. I don't know if they've taken that into consideration, but after talking to the El Paso Improvement Water District, there are 4 people that still have water rights, even though they did not pay for them. I thank you for your time. But we object to the rezoning of this property.
Miriam Cruz.
Thank you, Ms. Navarro. 3 points. The first one, as I mentioned in many public comments before, I really wish the presentation would be given so that everyone can have an opportunity to know what the depths and information that the agenda item is about. And so therefore they can take advantage of the public comment period. Again, that is something that we do at the Planning and Zoning Commission. The second thing I wanted to mention was, it's also something that I've seen proposed in the Planning and Zoning Commission, that we have someone from our commission come to city council meetings and provide more background in regards to agenda items that we discussed. Obviously, this was one of them. And the reason for that is because this gentleman that just spoke before me actually spoke a lot more, and so did so many more of his neighbors, during the Planning and Zoning Commission. And I think it's important for you all to know in depth, you know, everything that we discussed during the meeting, even if it's just bullet points in our minutes. And so again, that's something that I've been requesting from our commission, from our secretary. But I think that if you all request it, because I think that that's something that may save some time, maybe in rehashing certain things, and just knowing that we as a commission did discuss these items. As you can see, it was only approved by a 4-3 split. So there were 3 individuals in the commission that did not approve that item. And lastly, like I said, there were multiple individuals signed up to speak at the Planning and Zoning Commission, many constituents that did oppose that item. I don't know if they're signed up for item 18, which is the following item. I don't know if they signed up. I do see some of them present in the public, but I think, again, it's important to have that consideration for them. Obviously, there was a very organized neighbor who went out and got signatures, and that is important, but I also think it's important to give them the opportunity to speak if they so wish during the next, agenda item. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, I wish to speak, if I can.
It's open. Yes, Ms. Villalobos?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're absolutely right.
The motion to discuss, no?
Correct, so it's a public hearing, so she would have to say she wants to speak as a public, not as a representative.
But she can also just speak on the next item.
Okay.
As an elected official.
Ms. Villalobos, did you hear that?
I heard I can speak as a constituent, but not as a representative.
Right, or you can speak on the next item.
Okay, not a problem. Thank you.
Any other speakers?
No other speakers, Mayor.
Okay, as there are no other speakers, public hearing is now closed at 7:12. Item number 18, second reading and adoption of an ordinance approving rezoning of Lot 2, Block 1, Valle Sereno, Tract 25A, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Tracts 24B1, 25B3, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Tracts 25A1A, Block 15, Socorro Grant, Socorro, Texas, from R1 Single Family Residential to R2 Medium Density Residential, and a variance of the front yard setback to allow for a 10-foot setback, and a variance of the rear yard setback to allow for a 15-foot setback, with conditions to limit the density to single-family homes and provide 20-foot driveways.
Mayor, Council, good evening. Carlos Gainal with Planning and Zoning, and as Mayor, as you stated in your introduction, there's a lot of different moving pieces, so I'm going to walk you through each one in great detail so that you have enough information to make an informed decision. So the next slide, please, on the introduction. So, you know, as I mentioned, there are a lot of details to this case, and I'm going to walk you through them. The zoning is currently R1, which currently does allow single-family residential. The current land use that the properties are currently vacant. The proposed land use is for single-family residential. As the gentleman stated, Mr. Limas, he is correct in that the R2 does allow a density of 15 units per acre. But just to be clear, the rezoning is for single-family residential, and that is why we are also stating that the condition, if you choose to vote on this, and if you choose to accept the condition, that the condition be limited to just single-family residential. So that is correct. R2 allows single-family, duplex, quadruplex apartments at 15 units to the acre. That is not what is in front of you. This is for a single-family residential development. The proposed land use is, the future land use map for the city of Socorro has this as residential, so it does match that. And the proposed land use is for single-family homes. The request is to rezone from R1 to R2. And then there are 2 setback variances. So currently the R2 allows for a front setback of 20 feet and a rear setback of 20 feet. And so what the applicant is requesting is a variance to allow front setback of 10 feet, so that would be 50% from the required. And then in the rear setback would be 15 feet, which is 5 feet less than the 20 that is required. And then, you know, I think this item is considered infill. I'll walk you through that. I'm not having been here very long, I don't know if the council is familiar with infill development, what that means, and so I'll spend some time on that as well. And then the recommendation from our staff from Planning and Zoning is to recommend approval with the two caveats that, again, we limit the density to single-family residential, and that if you do choose to approve the conditions, the variances, that you do require a 20-foot driveway. And again, I'll walk you through that and why that makes sense in terms of the recommendation from staff. As was mentioned by one of the speakers, Ms. Cruz, the PNZ voted to approve on December 21st of last year on 4-3, and I think in the past we have provided you all that information in terms of how the PNZ has been voting. There were 5 speakers who voted, there were 5 speakers who spoke in opposition to the item, and then Mr. Limas did provide us with a petition of about 50, 60 residents, perhaps maybe more, and that was provided to you as part of the backup. And with that, I'll start with just the typical slides that we provide. Here's the location map. So it is, you know, tucked away, infill development. The closest major street would be Buford, which is again is adjacent to or almost adjacent to the location of the proposed rezoning. Here's the zoning map. R1, next image shows the property image. Next slide, please. So just to give you an idea, and then the aerial of the area. So again, it is behind several existing lots, several existing residential areas. And then the aerial, just another view. It is off of Buford Road, as I mentioned, Alameda, where Horizon turns into Buford after Alameda. There was notices sent to the public, and obviously they're working, right? Several residents did speak out at the PNZ. As I mentioned, there were 5 speakers that spoke out in opposition. And as I also mentioned, there is a petition that was part of the backup in opposition to the rezoning. Here's the general plan of what is being proposed. So the general plan outlines 17 lots, 1 public pond that would be deeded over to the city of Socorro. The applicant, if this is approved, will still need to go through the plating process. That's the second phase of the entitlement process. You know, because these are odd-shaped lots, that's the need for the smaller lots and the variances, right? The comment was made that variances should not be granted. However, variances are part of your code. Variances are part of the local government code. Variances are part of what the state of Texas allows property owners to request. You don't have to give it to them. They have every right to request it, and the reason for that is because not every single lot is a perfect square. Not every single lot is a perfect rectangle, right? There are instances in which, such as the one that's in front of you, where some variances are going to be needed in order to make the development work. And I would also add, if you drive around the city of Socorro, there are many more lots that are incongruent, that are oddly shaped than not, right? Again, Socorro is an old city, has been developed over many, many hundreds of years before there was zoning. And so that is why you do offer that relief to property owners in terms of variances and other considerations as part of the entitlement. The development does meet the lot area of 6,000 square foot, so there's no variance on the size of the lots. The 6,000 square feet is what the R2 requires if there is a public pond and they are providing the pond as part of the development. And then the density would be about 3.7 units to the acre. And then the next slide just shows a greater look of the development. We've also provided that to you. Mr. Cruz, I know you had a hard time last time you were here, so I wanted to make sure that you had that in front of you.
Thank you.
And we'll continue to provide the plats so that you have a little bit more access to them. You know, in terms of the variances, next slide. So again, the front setback requires 20 feet. They're requesting 10 feet. And the reason that you have a setback of 20 to 25 feet is because you want to make sure that there is enough space for the car, right? A car is 18, on average 18 to 20 feet long, and so the setback then would allow for the car not to encroach onto the sidewalk. And so this is a typical residential house in a typical new suburban development. I think I took this at Hidden Valley, and so again, it shows you what a 20-foot setback looks like. The rear yard setback requires 20, and they are requesting 15. The reason that I share this with you, the next slide, is it's not uncommon to have smaller setbacks, right? It is not uncommon to have a front porch in your home, to have a little bit more visibility onto the front of the street. The other reason that I show this slide is because what the staff is requesting of City Council, if you choose to however it is that you, when you make your consideration, is that they're asking for 10 feet, right? So if you leave the 10 feet setback, then there's no room for the car, right? There's no room for the garage. And so what we're saying is that allow the 10 feet, but require the 20-foot driveway. And I'll show you some examples of how that works. This is one of them. So if you look at this illustration, the letter C shows you the 10-foot setback. And then in this illustration, the letter F would show you what a 30-foot setback on the garage would look like. We're asking for 20, but this gives you an idea that there is a possibility of having the house a little bit closer to the street with the garage recessed to the back. In the next slide again, so this just shows you what a 20-foot setback looks like. The next slide, this is Current Place in El Paso. I'm not comparing Current Place to Socorro, but just to illustrate that that having the 20-foot, 10-foot setback is not uncommon. Having the garage recessed to the back is also a consideration. And so the next slide shows what that looks like, right? You do have the 10-foot setback, but you still have the driveway that allows the car to be parked there. Next slide. Next slide. This is taken from the city of El Paso, so they have an R2 zoning district, and if you read that, I think it's hard to read, but it says on the required front setback, it says 10 feet, except that a 20-foot driveway must be provided, which is, again, what we are asking you all to consider if you choose to, that if you do grant the variance of 10 feet, that you do require the 20-foot driveway as part of the ordinance. And then finally, the question about infill development. Next slide. Essentially, infill development just means that you're taking leftover lots, leftover land that has been overlooked over many, many years, and you're filling them in, right? It's called infill development. So what this does, from a planning perspective, from a best practices perspective, what it does is that you're creating development in land that is already existing with the infrastructure, right? You don't have to, for example, put in a whole bunch of infrastructure. You don't have to put a whole bunch of streets. That's number one. Number two, it generates taxes on land that has been overlooked. And then number three, it's also a more efficient use of the land, right? When you consider infill versus new development, these are 17 new homes that you're not going to be building out in the fringes of the city, that you're not going to be having to require any new subdivision, right? It's a better use of the earth, better use of the land. So these are 17 homes that you are putting in already existing infrastructure, existing lots. And then finally, it helps address, in a city like Socorro, helps address the issue of landlocked properties. The proposed development does have 2 properties that are landlocked. And so again, right, when we look at this opportunity, such as the one that's presented in front of us from a planning perspective, we look at all these things, right? Not to be dismissive or not to consider Mr. Limas and the residents' concerns. I think those are valid. His concern about traffic is a valid one. That would be addressed at the planning phase. When it comes in, they would have to do a TIA, so there would have to be some mitigation of whatever traffic the new development would generate. That's number one. Number two, the comment about density of if 4.5 acres times 15 is, I think you mentioned 70, 80 units. Again, this is not that, right? We are asking you to limit the density to single-family residential. And with that, Mayor and Council, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Do we have a motion?
Motion to discuss.
Second.
Mayor,
Ms. Villalobos?
Mr. Gallinar,
Yes, ma'am.
I have several questions, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm for the people all the time. What I don't understand, are they opposing everything from construction? Or are they opposing several things from this construction that they're proposing?
You know, Ms. Colombia Lobo, so again, if if you read the petition, they're opposing the rezoning, I believe in its entirety, right? They're opposed to the rezoning, number one. In comments that were made during the Planning and Zoning Commission, they were opposed to any new development. Again, listen, understandably, this is new development that's coming in someone's backyard. We do take those things into consideration. But again, given the presentation that I just gave you and the different points that I've tried to make, that's where we based our recommendation off of. But to answer your question, ma'am, again, I think they're just opposed to the rezoning. They're opposed to any new development. Comments that were made were on the density of apartments. Comments that were made were on the traffic issues, which again, I think we recognize can be a concern. And those are sort of my understanding of what it is that they're opposing on this case.
So if we approve this ordinance the way it is right now, does this mean that the developer can come back and put apartments, duplexes?
No, ma'am. So that's, well, not if you impose the condition. Not if you vote with the condition to limit it to single-family residential. They would not be able to put apartments. Even if the developer sells the land, the ordinance stays with the land.
So why isn't it on here? Why isn't it on the ordinance spelled out?
It's not. And if it's not, it was my oversight, but I believe we put it, and I think it's also part of the, I don't have the agenda in front of me, but I believe it's part of the agenda item, is it not?
It does say something about single family,
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
With
That would be the
conditions to
condition,
limit
ma'am.
density. So you
and
did-
that would protect them. I just want to make sure that they're protected,
Yes, ma'am.
the
And-
residents.
Yes, ma'am. And again, if it's not written in the ordinance, and for that I apologize. I thought I had included it. You could make it part of your motion.
Mayor, it is part
It
of
is,
the,
yes,
yes, it says, and a variance of the rear yard setbacks to allow for a 15-inch setback with conditions to limit the density to single-family homes and provide
20-foot driveways,
20
yes.
foot, yeah, driveways.
Mr. Gallinar, did the residents ask you or tell you that they prefer something else in their neighborhood other than?
No, ma'am.
No, okay.
They did not, if they did not verbalize that to me, no, ma'am.
And I just want the audience to know, I'm in the same boat right now. You know, there's development right next to my house, right next to my house. And unfortunately, it is what it is. It belongs to somebody who purchased it. They have the right, to develop. So that's why I don't understand if are they opposed to the setbacks? Because of now I understand because of the odd shape of these lots, and I've been looking at them, there has to be some exception to make this work. I did read the petition. It doesn't really specify why they want it opposed, except are we imposing on them? Are we crossing the street? Like in my case, we didn't want them crossing our streets. So.
You do have speakers for that item,
We have one speaker, Ms. Cruz.
in case you want to hear from.
Yes. Ms. Cruz?
I don't think discussion was done, and so I don't like going before discussion is done because then I lose my chance to say something else. I'll say a few things. First, I think it's inappropriate to ask Mr. Gallinar what the residents oppose and why they oppose it. Not because, for the simple reason that I believe you should be asking the residents that signed that petition. They know why they oppose it, and I think it's important to hear directly from them. Not just that, but I also believe that it's important to hear from them because the very same conditions that were explained just now, the same conditions that are being proposed as sort of cures were proposed in the Planning and Zoning Commission meeting too. So they were opposed and obviously are opposed to it, the variance and to the way that it's been proposed now. And so I think it's very important for you all to make a motion to open it up for people to be able to speak if they're still there. The other thing that I wanted to point out is that Mr. Gainar said that a variance is needed to make the plan work. Well, the lot is big enough to make a different plan that doesn't require a variance. There's no requirement that you guys have to approve a variance. There's no requirement of that. It's already zoned as R1. They can build in R1. And so I hope you guys consider those things. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Cruz. I agree with Ms. Cruz. I see some lots here that are smaller than what was intended as our ordinance, 6,000 feet or greater. So I think maybe reimagining this map and seeing if we can get those lots a little bit different, but keeping the R1.
I'd like to speak on this as well.
Mr. Cruz, go ahead.
So developers ask for ordinances because it's obviously in our ordinance structure. If it wasn't there, then they wouldn't ask for variances. It's at the discretion of planning and zoning to either approve or not approve. This one got approved, now it comes to council for final approval. Correct?
Correct, sir.
Okay, all right, just so we get that out of the way. So I've been living here for 38 years, lifelong resident of Socorro. A lot of the names that I see on the petition, those last names are from families who have been here for generation after generation and after generation. So that catches my attention as a representative for the area for the development to take place. At the same time, I'd like to bring up a definition for gentrification. If people aren't aware of what that term is, I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what it does is it creates economic issue that will affect the current community that's living there. It disrupts or disturbs its history and its culture. I understand the infill development. I don't think we're opposed to infill development. I think we're opposed to the current infill development. I kind of did some numbers myself, and I understand that the current developer who wants to develop there, if he's not able to build X amount of homes, it does not make business sense for him to even develop there. I understand that, and I get that. And I understand that this developer has also developed in several locations throughout our city, and he's bringing a lot of those homes, which we appreciate as council, because last council meeting we approved several of those developments to take place. I just feel that a lot of the decisions that we make here on the table they need to be relative to the area which we're going to develop. Maybe if the developer came with a different type of plan, or maybe a smaller version of what he's proposing, maybe that would have sat well with the residents. But when I see a petition with over or close to 60 names, I have to listen to the residents, because we build the city for the residents, and we build the city that we want, not what they want. Because at the end of the day, after this meeting, all of us here are going to get in our vehicles and we're going to drive to a house that's within the city limits of Socorro. So we are affected by traffic, we're affected by the infrastructure, we're affected by everything that we build here. So those are just some of the items that I wanted to touch base on before we make our vote. And that's it. I appreciate you all.
Yes, sir. I got a question.
Oh, I believe Mr. Garcia was next.
Okay.
If we can talk to the resident real quick, I would like to ask you a question. Sir, if you don't want this, what would you like?
No, we're fine with the zone the way it is as an R1. The things that we've heard is that it goes from, as an R1, he can develop 12 houses there. So 17 to 12, what is it, just for a profit margin, greed, to get more money off of that little property? It's an R1. Build single-family houses that are bigger. My house will be affected. I mean, like if you saw that drawing, my house is the biggest one.
So you're looking for an R1?
It is an R1. It's
To
already zoned.
maintain
It's already-
it.
To maintain an R1?
To stay in R1, yes.
Okay, thank
Like
you,
I
sir.
said, and the reason is also, and I know people are saying, well, the variances are in there so that if it gets voted like that, it'll always be an R2 with variances, right? It has to be single family. But city council does not stay city council for 20 years. You will not be in that same chair. Somebody else will be, and it's already zoned in R2. Be it 5 years from now, be it 6 years from now. Then it's zoned in R2, and then what do we as a community do after that? Because you're not there no more.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Reyes?
I was just gonna ask Mr. Gallinar about the variances. Is it gonna be for few houses as far as the back, or rear yard setback? Because not all the houses meet that variance, right?
So, that's a question for the developer, but my understanding is that if you choose to vote for the variance, that it would apply for all the development. But I think your point is well taken, because there's some lots that are bigger than others, there's some, I think you're gonna have some homes that are with larger backyards than not. The developer's here if you'd like to ask them, but to answer your question, yes, sir, the variance would be across the board.
I have a question for the developer.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Escobar, good afternoon. I think it's only fair to ask you as the developer, because I know that you're going to develop quite a bit here in our area, and I think that we need to continue a good working relationship. And my question to you tonight is, you're going to build, or the plan is to build like 17 homes, right?
Yes, sir.
Anything less would not be advantageous to your company, correct?
Let me clarify some things.
Uh-huh.
There's not 17 homes in the 4-point-some acres. There is an existing lot that I bought in La Tarreta.
Mhm.
It's already existing,
Okay.
okay? So that's one home that's already going to be built, happen whatever happens. So really, we're talking about 16 homes. If you go with an R1, you could probably get about 3 decent lots per acre. So that's 12 homes. So we're talking about 4 homes. Now, if I grab a petition and I go to everybody I know and I say they're going to do R2 and they're going to put 89 homes or 110 homes, everybody will sign it, okay? So right now is represented again. R2 apartments, there is no apartments, there has never been apartments being requested. It is homes, okay? The reason that I wanted to do the neighborhood in the way it is, number one, of course, economics. I do not work for free. We have to make a profit. Everything right now, streets, sidewalks, curbs, lighting, sewer, water, has gone up. It is an odd-shaped lot. It is infill development, okay? I went yesterday and took pictures that I can show you. Unfortunately, when we live in an area, we get accustomed to living in the area. We don't see the negative things. We don't see what it's costing the city to have an open space full of trash, full of weeds, that nobody takes care of. When this property was offered to me the first time, I said no, because it did not have an exit. It was landlocked. When the lot became available, I bought it immediately in order to be able to design an out for the fire department and comply with the regulations. Mr. Lima, I believe is his name. Yes, sir. And he's correct. If you don't approve it, no beef. I'll build on that one lot and be on my merry way, and you will have 4 acres of landlocked property that I don't know what you're gonna do with, but it's not gonna increase your tax base, it's not gonna bring more people to Socorro, and it's just gonna lay there. We had an idea because it's Socorro and it's kind of ranchy and it's nice, so we said, okay, 16, 17 homes, make it all uniform but nice, you know, not all the same like they do in the other subdivisions, but the same style. So where you can come in and you know your 17 neighbors, you have one entrance, you have an emergency exit. But unfortunately, this is what works. If you want somebody to develop R1, unfortunately, with a single loaded street, that is just one street coming in with lots on one side, some lots will be weird because it goes in and out. They'll have to come and ask for variances anyway, because some of these houses are not going to have a front and a backyard. They're going to have a big side yard. So they're all going to be different, the same but different. So it's just infill development. We do not want apartments. We want the variance recorded. We ourselves personally are going to build the homes. This is, and it sounds weird, okay? We're used to building big developments. This is a fun project. This is 17 nice little houses that we're going to do custom. It's not going to be cookie cutter. There are going to be some 2 bedrooms, there are going to be some 4 bedrooms, depending on the need of the people. And that's all we want to do. Socorro, if you drive around, you have a lot of left up property. Because they built around the fringes and they left properties in the middle. So you're going to have this coming up several times. So you need to decide if you're going to do it in a proper way, economic way that works, that is beautiful for the city, or somebody can come in and maybe do apartments and do something that the people don't want to do. Okay? So I'm here and I'm reassuring you, it's going to be 17 homes total. It's going to have everything that the city requires: sidewalks, curbs, lighting, water, sewer, gas. And if you want to see the condition of the property right now, I think I got some slides. And I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm not trying to, ¿cómo se dice?, menospreciar la casa de nadie. But I want you to see the property. That is the property. Okay?
How long have you owned it, Mr. Escobar?
Excuse me?
How long have you owned that one?
No, I have it under contract.
Oh, so you don't own it yet?
I'm not going to buy it unless it gets approved. So I have it under contract, and I have a. That's part of the property. That's your property? That's not part of the property. No. I'm showing you, that is the south corner from Buford looking into the property. So you have a burnt warehouse on the corner. This is looking from the property to a backyard. I mean, piles, I'm sorry, that's where the mobile home was put, the new mobile home. And what they did is they bulldozed all their trash into the property. So those mounds of trash are this high. Nobody's gonna pick them up.
The current property owner should be responsible for that, and we'll make sure that our code compliance officer gets on it.
That's not my job.
No, I'm just letting you know. Thank you for bringing this up to, making us aware of it.
They're the weeds. There's weeds. I'm sorry. There's weeds, there's cables, there's a few shots. That's somebody's
Porch.
that flew into the property, and those are the weeds, and un colchón, I don't know what the hell. That's the graffiti inside the property, behind the rock walls of the neighbors, and those are the weeds. That's somebody's house, or yard, or taller, or algo. I mean, this is looking from the property out. There's the tires. I mean, that's what it is. And that's another shot from the property out. So I know we get used to living comfortable and I think somebody's living in there. I don't know what that is.
Mr. Escobar, one last question. Should you build dependent on the outcome of the vote tonight? If you build and landlock that property there, does it still, for future purposes, allow, if you are still interested in purchasing that property and the residents are okay, because I think that maybe they're better informed tonight, I'm not too sure, but maybe for future purposes, to develop the very same plan, does that allow for you to do that?
It will not
It
happen.
will not, okay.
Let me tell you why. Because the lot that I bought, I don't hold lots. It's a single family lot. We'll go in, build a small home, sell it to someone,
That's it.
and it'll be theirs. It won't be mine anymore.
Okay.
So. Any other questions? No, thank you.
Ms. Mayor,
Ms. Villalobos?
I'm sorry. Mr. Escobar, can you come back up? I'm sorry, I apologize. Mr. Escobar, I know you're a great man. I really do.
Mayor, I'm sorry,
and,
Mayor.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Martinez?
Ms. Colon Villalobos, if you're going to speak, the Open Meetings Act requires you to have the video active. We need to be able to see you as well as hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Give me a second. Okay. That's it, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Mr. Escobar, so I know we went through growing pains ourselves with the development right next to my house. And we met several times with you, and we finally came up to an agreement. Has this happened between you and the residents of that area?
No, ma'am.
So could I suggest that we table this and you guys meet to come up with an agreement? Because regardless what happens here today, the vote could be very detrimental to our residents, our constituents, and then it will, stop your development for this one area, what you've already, planned to do, you paid engineers, et cetera, et cetera.
If Mr. Limas or whoever wants to take the lead is willing to get a couple of representatives and I can explain exactly or show exactly what's going to happen. I'm not saying it's going to change their mind. I'm just saying if they want additional information, I'll be more than happy to accept the table if Mr. Limas so desires. If they're set on what it is, then just vote your conscience and we'll be happy.
Council, I know you guys weren't here when it happened in my neighborhood. Yes. We finally all got together. We did Ms. Rodarte was gracious enough to set up the meeting for all of us. We met here at this building and we discussed what we knew he had to develop. It was his land. We can't stop him. But there was some stuff on the table that we didn't agree. We finally came to an agreement, and I think everybody's pleased. And I think this is what needs to happen so that our constituents are not are well educated on why it's happening the way it's happening.
Again.
And so
I have a lot of developments in Socorro. If Mr. Lima so wishes, I'm happy to if you want to postpone it for me to meet, that's okay with me.
Ms. Rodarte?
Mayor, just to clarify, I was not the one that coordinated that meeting. It was Mr. Salcedo. I declined to go to that meeting.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Okay. Must have been another meeting.
No, you had a representative from your neighborhood.
Mr. Salcedo.
And he's the one that set it up.
Okay. Alrighty. I wasn't aware who said it, but I'm sorry. Okay. We did meet here at this building.
I mean, I'm at the disposal of council, whatever council wants me to do, you tell me. If you want to vote or if Mr. Limas wants to meet, I don't know if he even wants to meet. I don't.
Mr. Limas?
It's very simple. The issue again is not about the development. The issue that I bring up
he doesn't get a chance to develop that, and now it's an R2. You are no longer in those seats 2, 3, 4 years from now. And a new developer comes in, and since it's an R2, can put apartments. I'm not saying Mr. Escobar's gonna do that, but what if he can't develop now? Okay? The other issue I had with those pictures is that one picture he showed you isn't even part of the lot. It belongs to Mr. Villarreal, who lives on the corner, or who used to live on the corner of Haynes and Buford. So that warehouse that he used to have, that welding shop that burned probably about 4 years ago on that corner. That's not even part of the lot that's behind my house. So if you look at the lot behind my house, my part, because I own it, is clean. I went out there, we dug up all the weeds. I had El Paso Water Valley come out. They got their big loader, got rid of all the debris that's out there because it's waste, it's yard waste, it's nothing else. It's not trash, not in my part, not the part that I own. The part that I own is clean. It's the part that everybody else owns, that he owns, or whoever's gonna buy the property from him, that doesn't keep it clean. We even ran people off that were trying to put trash in my area, that were coming from the property he's trying to develop. There's another property that's off of Haynes. They put a new mobile home there. All the people did there was push to build a new fence, exactly like you said. They just move it into that empty lot. Not my lot, because I watch my lot. Like I said, I own 2 acres there.
I believe Mr. Garcia has a question for you.
Sir, so if they build, then we wouldn't, it's an R2, and he builds the entire row, there is no more vacant land. Where would something, in 20 years be different?
I'm saying if he doesn't get the chance to develop, right?
Well, the thing is that the plan is the plan. It would have to come through council first. If he didn't develop, then somebody would have to come to council and say, we're gonna build apartments now. That's the only change that would happen.
Yeah,
Because
but you won't be in that chair no more, sir.
exactly, it might not be,
Somebody else
but the thing is
would
that
agree with that.
they would have to come to council, sir. So we can't tell the future, and I'll be very honest with you.
You're right, but
But
why do I have to fight the fight twice?
But I can't take the chance of it being that way.
I understand it, but then I'm fighting the fight twice.
But
Because if I fight it now and I win, then I'm good.
okay,
If I don't, if I'm not fighting, I mean, either way, right? I'm trying to fight for my area,
no,
my neighborhood.
and that's
Okay.
great. But I'm
That's why
trying to tell you
I
that.
went out walking Haynes, Careta, Buford,
Right.
Saladon, Uranaga, all those roads right there to talk to my neighbors.
So what you're saying is that if it doesn't get developed, then
What happens to that property then, since it's already in R2? 'Cause you
right.
guys approved
But
it?
if it does get developed, where are we at then?
I mean, that's fine. If it gets, like I said, if you guys approve it and it's an R2 and it gets developed,
Then you're okay with it.
well, I wouldn't be okay. Well, I wouldn't be okay because it's
For the
R2,
most part.
But he won. I mean, he gets what he wants, and that's fine. But I want to do the fight. You understand?
Yes, sir.
I want to keep it as an R1.
That's what.
I don't understand the difference between the R1 and R2 if he's only going to build 16 houses compared to 12.
I'm just trying to reassure you that if we approve this, he's going to build those homes, and there isn't going to be any space for apartments.
But like I said, 16, 12. What's the difference? Keep it at 12.
But so that's what I'm trying to tell you.
As an R1,
If they
12
build
houses.
12, you're fine. If they build 16, you're fine. That's what I'm trying to get from you. You want 12, but the thing is that if you build,
I wanted to stay in R1.
that's what you want.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Minus the variances, the setbacks, all that stuff. I
So you want to
that
stay?
property
You want to stay in R1 just because you wanted to stay in R1?
Because like I said, I don't want the problem, the issue to happen if he doesn't develop within a certain amount of time, and you guys get elected out of office, right?
Right.
And it's somebody else, it's already zoned in R2.
So if
And
Mr.
another developer comes in, and then the new city council comes in, and they approve it.
If Mr.
Like it's so easy for him to want to leave. Like I
Right,
said,
right.
he
No,
wants
no,
to leave.
and I understand you, but if he tells you, I'm going to build, when this gets approved, he buys it and it gets approved.
Right. And then-
But the thing, every plan comes through us.
Yes, sir.
And through the P&Z. That's what I'm trying to assure you. If this gentleman here behind you, Mr. Escobar, comes in and says, I'm going to build here, and as far as I know, hasn't done anything to tell us different.
And like I said about the variances, okay, coming back with the setbacks at 10 feet.
Right.
I'm in law enforcement, okay, I work for the state of Texas.
Yes, sir.
When you have crimes of opportunity like that with houses that are 10 feet from the roadway, how easy is it for your kid to leave a bike on the road somebody that comes by, picks it up and takes off,
Right.
right? You get a package delivered from Amazon, right? Put it on that porch, it's only 10 feet from the sidewalk. Somebody comes up, drives up, takes it, there you go. Make the police department work a lot harder. You know what I mean? I won't respond because that's not my job. I'm dealing with the snow in the mornings, you know,
Yes, sir.
out on the highway.
Okay.
But kinds of opportunity, you know, you bring all that stuff up. Highway, if you've ever been down Celadon and you're coming out of Celadon onto Buford, there's a house that's right on the corner, right before Nicholas. That road, you can't even see the traffic coming down. And the speed limit is 35 miles an hour on that road. Now you're just gonna invite more traffic to come on
Mr.
there.
Limas, I believe we're getting out of the subject. I think
R1.
Ms. Rodarte has a question for you,
Yes, ma'am.
or a comment.
Correct, so I just wanted to clarify that what's before you today is an ordinance that if it does turn into an R2, he has limited conditions to be able to build to the 17. That ordinance follows it, follows the property, right? So even if this council leaves, that ordinance is still set in stone until someone either purchase it and wants to rezone, then, you know, again, they would have to come through council and request the same. But right now, the ordinance that is before you will limit the conditions and the density of that zoning. Just for you to, you know, have peace of mind that if they do approve it, they're not approving the many, you know, that R2 would allow them. It would limit them to the conditions that is before you and the density. Okay?
And also, like I said on the petition, the reason he said, you know, but he just put an R2. That's a letter I got from P&Z. They didn't give me no variances. They just said we're gonna change your zoning from an R1 to an R2. So what can I tell my neighbors? They wanna build medium density housing in that area. There was nothing in that P&Z that says anything else. You know, they can come out here and give you the plan after we've already talked. They get the advantage. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Reyes?
I think it's gonna be back and forth, back and forth. Can we do what Ms. Villalobos was telling us? Maybe Mr. Escobar, it could probably be as simple as instead of building a 6-foot rock wall, put a 7-foot rock wall and they'll be happy. As far as like in the backyard. Can we just let them go talk to the neighbors, explain? Because it seems like the neighbors are not aware of what it's actually gonna happen. They just,
Well, I believe our city planner provided public notice.
Mayor.
So,
One second.
Cruz, yeah, that's correct. We required it by whatever law, which is 200 feet. So letters were mailed out. Again, obviously they worked. The gentleman is here. There were other people at the P&Z meeting. That's number one. Number two, just to clarify what Mr. Lima said, we did discuss the setbacks at the P&Z. The presentation I gave you is almost the same, with the exception of few slides.
There's been public notice, there's been P&Z meetings, there's been obviously public comment.
Yes, sir.
And the opportunity for several individuals to come speak on behalf of this agenda item. We also have a petition signed by over 50 residents within the area. I think that it's time to take action on this item.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
Mayor,
We're just gonna keep going on and on and on. It's never.
I
gonna
wanted
get
to
resolved.
ask the builder
for
when he is
question.
planning to build.
Call for question?
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Motion to ask for a question.
Oh,
No, it's to bring you back to the agenda item. That was your motion, right?
Yes, sir.
I motion
Motion to approve or to deny?
to bring us back to the agenda item for vote, to take action.
Okay.
Do you need a second?
Second.
Yeah, but, I mean, that's one thing, the mayor's still the presiding officer. I mean, Mr. Cruz, I know you made a motion, she didn't recognize him. I think the mayor, as the presiding officer, you have a choice. You could recognize the speaker.
I did
To make
not.
a
I
motion, or you can
recognized
recognize
Ms.
the speaker who wishes
Villalobos,
to speak.
and I asked her what her question was. If she was gonna be short, then we could entertain the motion, entertain her question. Ms. Villalobos?
Mr. Escobar, are you still there?
Please be
Sir.
brief.
I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Escobar, you are planning to build on this land or start developing by when?
As
Okay, that was my question. And just to say real quick, I've been in this boat, you guys. I really have been in this boat. There's nothing like talking to the source. Yes, we have sent letters out, yes, but believe me, it's so much better when they get one and one together. It's gonna be so much better. We as council, to them, are going to look like the bad people. And I don't like that. I really don't like that. I think this is good. He's willing to sit down and talk to them, and they're willing to sit down and listen to him. Let them hash it out and then bring it back. But, 4 months is not too far. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, do we have a motion? What was the motion? Are we
Mr.
gonna
Cruz made
change
the
it? Are we
motion,
gonna
seconded
keep
by
it?
Mr. Nevares to approve?
Wait, hold on, approve what?
The ordinance.
The ordinance.
Okay, no, my motion wasn't to approve the ordinance,
Was the question?
What was it?
because
then?
we were going
It was
back
the
and forth.
question.
My motion was to bring us back to the agenda item to take action
Okay.
for voting.
Okay.
That was my motion. I apologize.
And yours was
To bring.
So do we have a motion on the table?
I motion to deny.
Do we have a second?
Can it be, what are the, I'm sorry, what are the repercussions of denying it right now and not, what are the differences between denying it or postponing it?
He doesn't buy the property and it stays at R1 until someone else comes in, right?
Correct, ma'am. So the motion is on the table. Do we have a second? Motion dies.
Second.
Oh, she said.
I'll second it.
Second.
But I still need my question answered by the attorney, please.
Yes, ma'am. If it's denied, it's denied. I mean, it ends. I guess the only other consequence of that is if it's, no, you can't reapply for another zoning change for 1 year, I believe. Carlos, can I? 1 year, that's right. You have 1 year, and then if it's postponed, obviously, that 1 year isn't triggered. It would simply be,
Motion to table.
it would come back on the agenda in its current form on the date to which you postponed.
Motion to table.
Yeah,
Table.
To table.
Motion to table.
It's actually postponed.
But the motion was to deny. You have a second, so we have to take that vote.
Ruben Reyes,
No.
Cesar Nevares.
No.
Alejandro Garcia,
Nay.
Rudy Cruz,
Yes.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
No.
So
Mayor?
motion dies, right? So now we need another motion.
Mayor. Motion to table to, for residents and developer to get together and bring this back on our March 3rd meeting.
Second.
Ruben Reyes,
Yes.
Cesar Nevares,
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia,
Aye.
Rudy Cruz,
Nay.
and Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. And just as a note, I'm happy to facilitate a discussion with the residents and Mr. Escobar if they choose to, but thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to Grants Department. Gentlemen, if you please take it outside. Grants Department, item number 19, discussion and action to approve Resolution 667, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Office of the Governor's Criminal Justice Division fiscal year 2023 First Responder Mental Health Program for the Socorro Police Department. There is no match requirement for this grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. Alejandra Valadez, City Development Director. There, is that better? We are requesting your approval to submit an application to the Office of the Governors for the FY 2023 First Responder Mental Health Program. As you know, our police department is a very small department. There are about 55 peace officers that serve 34,000 residents. In 2020 alone, our police department received approximately 28,000 calls for service. We also have our first responders through our EMS provider, which is Elite Transport. The limited number of officers in our department and the high number of calls for service means that our officers are stretched thin. As a condition of their working environment, they're involved in very high-stress incidents, often life-threatening. As an example, our officers did respond to the August 3rd shooting. It is now widely accepted that post-traumatic stress disorder symptoms can be felt by first responders, and they affect their day-to-day operations, including morale and their tenure in the department. So we are asking for approximately $25,000 in grant funding to provide free, confidential, high-quality mental health services, including individual counseling and peer support groups for our first responders, including the police department and our EMS providers, for them to increase coping strategies and just to have access to those services should they need them. There is no match for this grant.
Ruben Reyes is absent. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 20, discussion and action to approve Resolution 668, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Office of the Governor's Criminal Justice Division, fiscal year 2023, General Victim Assistance Grant Program for the Socorro Police Department. There is no match requirement for this grant.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are requesting your approval to submit an application to the General Victim Assistance Grant Program for the Socorro Police Department. There is no match requirement for this grant. As you know, in 2019, we did receive a grant to start our Crime Victims Assistance Program. We did hire one crime victims advocate through that grant. In this grant application, we are requesting funding for crucial crisis services and resources for victims of crime here in Socorro, including assisting with safety of their homes after, for example, they've been broken into, some assistance to put some safety guards back up, stabilizing their lives after victimization. Some of these include emergency food, clothing and transportation, window, door, or lock replacement or repairs to ensure a victim's safety. And other care items that we don't often think about, but they are highly needed by victims of crime after a crime has happened. There is no match for this grant.
Motion to approve.
Ruben Reyes. Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 21, discussion and action to approve Resolution 669, authorizing the submission of a grant application to the Office of the Governor's Criminal Justice Division, fiscal year 2023, Violence Against Women, Justice and Training Program for the Socorro Police Department. There is a 30% match requirement.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Good afternoon, Mayor and Council. We are requesting your approval to apply for the FY 2023 Violence Against Women, Justice and Training Program for the Socorro Police Department. We are requesting funding to increase training for the department on sexual assault and family violence. There is a 30% match requirement for this grant. We are requesting approval for a match amount of up to $5,000.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to City Manager. Item number 22, discussion and action to approve the replacement of culvert under Moon Road in the amount of $39,599.89.
Motion to approve.
Good evening,
Second.
Mayor. Good evening, Mayor and Council. The Water Irrigation District has assessed the bridge crossing at Moon Road, and it needs replacement. As you can see in the picture, this would be North Moon, right across from passing Old Hueco School. The Water Irrigation District is providing the labor, equipment, pipe, vans and freight. The city is wanting to collaborate to fix the bridge crossing through our license agreement, and the cost for that would be $39,599. It is in really bad conditions, if you can see in the pictures. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna remove my mask because everyone's been speaking to the speaker, so I apologize. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Ma'am?
Is it on the pictures? Do you all have any questions?
I do. Real quick.
Mr. Reyes?
How long would it take him to do it and how soon?
So they just need approval from us today, so I can call Mr. Pete Rodriguez tomorrow. He'll schedule it into his workload. So it'll take between 2 months because they have to do it before irrigation starts again. So they have to move on it quickly.
And they're gonna do pavement on everything?
Correct. So we do the street overlay. They just replace the piping because we're in charge of all of that through our license agreement.
What's the
Mr. Cruz?
I'm sorry.
You need to be,
Question? May I ask a
Yes.
question?
yes, go ahead.
What's the time frame for this improvement to take place?
So it just depends on the workload for the water irrigation district, but I do understand that they are in crucial need of our approval in order to get it replaced. So I'm assuming within the next 2 months, I can get you estimated date by tomorrow once I give Mr. Rodriguez the approval from council.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Moving on to mayor and council. Item number 30, discussion and action to approve participation in the Binational Tourism Conference, September 2022. We did a Binational Tourism Conference this past year, and it went fantastic. We had many people from different states in Mexico and from here in the US, and we'd like to do it again. Mr. Al Borrego is here if you have any questions.
I have a question.
Mr. Borrego, would you please?
Good morning, Mayor, Council. It's morning for me all the time.
Oh, how's it going?
Pretty good, pretty
Awesome.
good.
Hey, what's the location for this year's Binational
The
Tourism?
Binational Tourism Conference is in Torreon, Mexico, in Coahuila this year. That's where it's going to be. It is scheduled for September as well, the end of September. We're doing our Binational History Conference here in El Paso that we do every year, our annual one, in the beginning of September.
So is there a difference between that and
Oh,
the,
yeah.
and the tourist connection?
Two different things, yeah.
Because the agenda item is the tourist connection
Right.
that's going to take place in Torreon,
Torreon.
Mexico.
Yeah, like Mayor said, it went really well. This year, it was here in El Paso. The Binational Tourism Connection is something that started in 2020 in Chihuahua, and we were there for that one as well. And that was right before COVID hit, so it was kind of good. It came in, but then it kind of died. The whole thing died because we weren't able to make anything happen. This year, we've done a lot here out of the Cultural Heritage Society. Right after the one here, we made our standard connections, and we've already sister citied 8 new municipalities on the Camino Real, which that's what we do. And it's going to pay back in September because they're all coming back here. But it's a really good event. I think even that it's in Coahuila, I think it'd be good for Socorro to I mean, you had a great stand. I was really proud of Socorro. I'm nobody, but the stand was excellent. I was really happy to see that Socorro is doing what you did there and promoting the city, and it was just great. I mean, I haven't seen that from Socorro ever. I was born here practically. But it's really good to see that the city's moving in that direction to promote the city, and now you have a lot of, there's so much history here, it's unbelievable. So, I mean, you've got to promote it, and it's good to see that it's getting done. Yeah, it's really, really good. I think it'd be a good thing for you guys to look at for September, definitely.
Mayor?
Mr. Garcia?
So we're asking to leave the country to participate?
I think it was the other way around. I think it was the connection, right? Correct?
It was
The connection,
you're talking about the conference.
right?
Yeah. The September and the conference is here.
Oh.
Yeah, in September.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the conference is in September. It's the 8th, 9th, 10th of September here in El Paso. We normally have it in San Elizario, the Cultural Heritage Society for the Camino Real de Tierra Adentro. We're the ones that do it. And we usually do it in San Elizario. That's where we've been doing it for years. But we're open to have it. I'd love to have it on the res. I'm trying to get that organized. Last year we talked about it, but with COVID, it's not a good thing. It wasn't a good thing at all. But we can have it anywhere. We can have it in Socorro. We can have it in Socorro.
So I have a question.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Mr. Reyes. Did you have your hand up?
Go ahead, Mr. Reyes.
It's a little bit, so the 50,000, it's for marketing to bring it to Socorro, or for us to take marketing to Coahuila?
We're talking about the conference, so that would be here, the one here in El Paso. Yeah, and we could do it in Socorro. I mean, that'd be great. I just need the venue.
So
That'd be great to have it here. I mean, I'm all for having it in Socorro. Socorro's my town.
I'm a little confused
Yeah.
because the binational tourist connection for 2022 is in Torreon.
Yeah.
But is there different versions of it, or?
No. There's two different things. And I think Mayor I think it went in there as a tourism connection, which I'm part of both of them. That's why I can speak on both
Because
sides.
one's on the agenda item as the binational tourist connection,
Yeah.
which is Torreon, Coahuila.
Absolutely.
But what we're talking about here is,
It went in as a conference.
Yeah, it was supposed to be the conference, I think.
It's the conference.
So what is the name of the conference?
It's the Binational History Conference.
Mr.
So just
Garcia?
in your motion, you would have to binational history conference.
Binational history.
Conference. Here if you want to do it here in Socorro,
Yes.
Socorro, Texas.
And Mayor, I might suggest that, I know it seems pedantic, but the Open Meetings Act is all about notice, fair
Right.
notice. I don't think you've given fair notice to the public that
It
you're going
says
to.
conference here, though.
It does, but it says a binational tourism conference, not a
Oh,
binational
okay, I'm
history
sorry.
conference.
I apologize.
I would suggest in the interest of being conservative
Can we bring it
and
back
cautious,
then?
delete it,
Next?
and we'll post it correctly.
Okay,
and bring it
that's
back.
fine. That's fine. We have plenty of time.
Yeah. You good?
Okay, go ahead. Someone make the motion to delete?
Motion to delete?
Second?
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 31, discussion and action to remove Hugo Gomez from the Building and Standards Commission, Place 6.
Motion to approve?
Motion. Second.
Cesar Nevares?
I'm sorry, let me interrupt. Mayor, if I may, for both number 31 and number 32, for the Building and Standards Commission, our ordinance rather actually requires the preparation of a charge.
That's the Board of Adjustments.
I think it's Building and Standards as well, because we created and packaged it after the Board of Adjustment.
No, we dissolved it from the Planning and Zoning Department, so it doesn't have any bylaws at this time. The Board of Adjustment is the one that requires the. They dissolved it.
Isn't building and standards new?
And I'm sorry, Mayor, I was consulting with your city manager. The ordinance as it's written now requires the preparation of a charge.
Okay, so we
So,
can,
well, you can, but my suggestion would be is, you've given
Delete.
notice that you want to remove him, but I would propose that the motion be a motion to instruct your attorneys to prepare a written charge and bring it back to council.
But it's not posted that way.
It's not, but the removal is posted. I think that's a fair change. You've given notice that you want to remove him, but the correct procedural vehicle is not simply to announce the removal, it's to instruct your attorney to prepare the charge.
okay, would someone like to make the motion?
Motion to instruct staff
Attorney?
to the attorney to provide a written charter for removal of Mr. Hugo
Gomez? And
Gomez.
Gerardo Gonzalez.
and who's the other person?
Gerardo Gonzalez.
And Gerardo Gonzalez. Second.
We're doing 31. Do we need separate motions? Mr. Martinez?
So we should just delete item 32.
Unless you call both items.
No, this is.
No, they did 31.
To bring it back so that,
So can we just do number 31 first, and then we'll go to number 32?
okay, that's fine. So,
Motion to direct the attorney to provide a written charter to remove Hugo Gomez from the Building and Standards Commission, place 7.
Second.
6.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos?
Yes.
Item number 32, discussion and action to remove Gerardo Gonzalez from the Building and Standards Commission, place 7.
Motion to approve?
Second.
No,
Motion. So I'll make the motion to direct the attorney to provide a written charter for the removal of Gerardo Gonzalez from the Building and Standards Commission.
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos?
Yes.
Item number 33, discussion and action to remove Ernest Gomez from the Ethics Review Commission, place 5.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos?
Yes.
Item number 35, discussion and action to direct staff to provide council a plan of action for a creation of solid waste department.
Motion to approve?
Second.
So as the city grows, we're looking at trying to make sure we have enough revenue to support our new projects that we're all pushing. And with the growth, I believe there is revenue in a solid waste management. So I'm asking approval for council to direct our staff to research and make sure we can get the information we need to move in the positive direction of getting a solid waste management for the city of Socorro.
Motion to approve?
We already have a motion. We have a speaker for this item. Miriam Cruz?
I was getting ready to wave my arms, Ms. Navarro. I'm just kidding. I actually just wanted to speak on this item really quickly and just say that I'm actually glad that Mr. Garcia brought this item. I think it's something really important to explore as a city. And so I hope that hopefully the research brings back positive plans. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares is absent. Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos?
Yes.
Item number 36, discussion and action to direct staff to conduct a needs assessment and analyzation for the city administration office buildings and local business necessities to prepare for city growth in preparation for capital improvement plan at our upcoming budget workshops.
Yes, this is my item. As we're growing, we just approved a lot of new homes coming in. We're having a lot of growth. I believe that we need to also send another direct staff to conduct an assessment test wherever it might be, a new city hall, it might need to be another police station, another fire station, whatever we might need, we need to get prepared for it because there's a lot of people coming in, there's a lot of growth. We've been having a lot of discussion with SISD for our schools to get ready for this growth. And we're getting ready, and there's a lot of moving parts, and I just want to make sure that we make sure that we have everything we need and not be proactive and not reactive to our growth here in the city.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Yes.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 37, discussion and action to remove Pablo Barrera from the Ethics Review Commission, Place 2.
Second. Motion to approve.
Second.
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia.
Aye.
Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Can I make a motion to take a 5-minute recess?
Second?
Wait, we have
Ruben Reyes.
Yes.
Cesar Nevares.
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia. Rudy Cruz.
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
5-minute recess, it's 8:28.
It is 8.
Oye, ahora me preparé a ver si se me... Porque vi por ir al aire.
They did a competition, in competition. And I was there in Sunday, yeah, thinking, I was like, man, we should do something. Because I know they have a competition. No, te traes a toda la gente, and then they gotta find a place to stay. So it's like, you know.
Necesitamos growth.
Thank you.
Para que limpien todo ese tiradero, que para mí es un problema. Yo lo que quiero es que haya crecimiento y que se vea mejor, que esté más llamativo para que viva la gente, no que se mantenga así.
Mr. Popcorn via Zoom. I'm just kidding. It's just a joke.
An amphitheater, outside, outdoor.
Pues we can do it in Bulldog Park. It's already set up for it. A ver.
Vámonos. Let's do this.
Fuga.
So do we need a motion to go back into,
No. 5 minutes.
Ya con tanto coffee voy a estar.
Back in open session.
Dude, it puts me to sleep. I drink 12 cups a day.
Well,
8:28.
I thought it was bad.
ADD, bro.
You have to knock and say recess.
Yeah, hold on.
So I drink 12 cups before I get to work.
We're number 39? Right?
30 yes to 39.
37, 38,
39.
39, okay. This meeting is called to order. Item number 39, discussion and action to remove Arturo Lafuente from the Planning and Zoning Commission, Place 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Mayor, I have a
Mayor.
question. To the attorney,
Ms. Villalobos?
yes, or to counsel or the attorney, whoever can answer. Some of these people are really good people and they've been there for a long time. Can we, since we have vacancies, can we reappoint them at a different commission?
Generally, I think the answer is yes. I mean, you're not posted to appoint him to anything else. The action item for today is to remove him or not. And I don't have all the commission ordinances memorized. My memory is at least one has a limit. It's kind of like the rezoning ordinance application. There's a limit on the amount of time that must pass after removal before you can be reappointed, but I can't, that's just kind of a vague thought. I'm not certain about that at the moment. But in general, yes, they can be reappointed.
Why don't you get back to me in an email, sir? I would appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Mayor, we have a speaker for this item, Miriam Cruz.
Hi, thank you, Ms. Navarro. I just wanted to speak on this item because I know Mr. Lafuente. I'm currently or was serving with him at the Planning and Zoning Commission, but also prior to that, he had been serving on the Planning and Zoning Commission. And so I just wanted to publicly thank him for all of his years of service and also thank him for the dedication that he has had for the city of Socorro and the Planning and Zoning Commission since he did serve for so many years. Excuse me. And so that's the reason I signed up to speak today. I don't believe he's present, but hopefully he'll see this wherever he may be. Thank you.
Thank you. Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 40, discussion and action to remove Gilbert Lujan from the Historical Landmark Commission, Place 3.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 41, discussion and action to direct staff to research a pension plan and pay rates for city employees.
Motion to approve for discussion?
Second.
Second, Mayor,
Ms. Villalobos?
I'm not sure how this got changed, but I was requesting this item to be on the agenda. This is why I asked to speak. May I, Ms. Mayor?
Yes, go ahead, Ms. Villalobos.
Alrighty then. So we, last meeting, I believe last meeting or the meeting after that, I'm not too sure right now, but we heard from our police officers and I did have a chance to speak to Chief Burton about what we do have in place, which was not mentioned at our council meeting last time. And in speaking with Mrs. Rodarte, she explained to me the differences between what they were requesting that we look into for them, which was a retirement plan versus the pension plan. After speaking with Mrs. Rodarte, after speaking with Chief Burton, the plan that we have for them, which is kind of like a retirement plan, seems to be the better plan. And if Mrs. Rodarte is willing, she can explain the differences between both of them. I'm not sure, Attorney, Mr. Martinez, if she can, because, you know, it's not worded that way, but if she can, this way you understand what we do have in place. And our police, I see some police officers back there. I did hear you loud and clear. I think we all heard you loud and clear. And we do want you to have, continue to have something good that is gonna benefit you and not hurt you in the long run. So, and maybe you as police officers are not aware how this works, but the way it was explained to me, what we have in place now is so much better. And yes, and also the pay rates for the city of employees, that's a different issue. Ms. Rodarte?
I didn't quite understand, are you asking Mrs. Rodarte? Let me start over. Do we have?
If she, with this item placed on the table, can she explain what we have in place as a retirement plan for our police officers, which is called a pension plan, and not a it's kind of like a 401k, but it's not a 401k, but it does benefit our police officers better than a 401k. And she explained to me what the differences were. And I wanted council to understand, because that wasn't discussed when the police officers came up to public forum to ask that we look into it, which we did. And so is she allowed to explain the differences between that 401k that they were looking for versus what we do have in place, which is a pension plan?
If what we have in place is a pension plan or the alternative to it, then I think, yes, you can. Yeah, I think you can. If you need to consider what you have in order to determine whether or not you want to adopt a pension.
Correct. So, Ms. Colombia Lobos, I do think Mr. Casiano would be better on explaining the difference between the deferred compensation to the pension plan.
Okay.
Well, can I ask one question on the agenda item?
Go ahead, Mr. Cruz.
Is the request for staff to research a pension plan only for the Division of Law Enforcement or the entire workforce?
The entire workforce.
Because I'm under the impression, well, from my understanding, if a municipality enters into a pension plan, it has to be 100% participation from the entire workforce and not just a division. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
And generally, a pension plan would be that way, yes. What we have now is a 457B plan, which is basically the equivalent of a governmental entity's 401k plan, where the individuals make their own decisions about the investments and what their level of participation is. I throw in 10%, okay, but the city matches right now 7%, and you know, it works for me, but that's me. What the question is to direct staff to research a pension plan and pay rates. We'd be happy to do that. Happy to look at a pension plan, as opposed and set them, put them side by side and give to you all the information that you would need to make a decision whether or not we want to do a pension plan. I think that would be a wise way to look at it. Yes, sir.
So, yes, it would only be wise before this council adopts a pension plan. At the same time, I would send out some type of a survey to the entire workforce to even see if they're interested in participating in this, because if you don't have 100% participation from your workforce, the pension plan does not work or function properly. At the same time, I would like to request staff to provide information about how many individuals we have working here, maybe over the course of, over the tenure of 5 to 10 years, because if we are going to adopt a pension plan, if I'm not mistaken, we do not start them at year one. We have to buy in to those 10 years of however many individuals.
Right, and that's all the information that we would be looking at to bring to you, because the buy-in is a big deal. That's gonna It could make or break the decision. But I think it would be an excellent time to say, you know, it's time to look at this. And, you know, even in our discussions with the chief, you know, he actually recommended that we keep the 457B along with the pension plan, along with Social Security. So we'd be up to 3 retirement plans.
Mr. Reyes?
Got a question. Not to change anything, but could the motion, instead of having direct staff to search, could it be direct staff to bring back a presentation for a pension plan and pay raises for our city employees? So Mr. Castellano has chance to bring us paperwork on it.
I agree.
And we'll have employees maybe show up and they can listen to it.
Yes.
Ms. Villalobos?
So I'm not sure what happened. This is not what I requested. It does say it's from the mayor. Mayor, did you change it?
No.
Did you change the wording? Because this is not what in reading it now, it's not what I requested. We had talked about the deferment, now I remember, plan versus the pension plan. So I wanted, anyways, it didn't come out the way it should have been. I should have been more diligent, but I like your suggestion, Mr. At-Large. Thank you.
Ms. Rodarte?
Ms. Colombia Lobos, that item was sent to you, and you reviewed it and stated that the only thing you requested is for it not to be under mayor, to be under you.
Right, exactly.
But it's the same agenda item that was sent to you for your review.
Yes,
No
ma'am,
one
and I
changed the
confused it,
verbiage.
and that's what I'm saying. I confused it with the deferment plan versus the pension plan. That was my mistake. I'm not, you know, but that's okay. We're gonna research it and bring it back. That's the important thing.
So does staff research a deferment plan or a pension plan?
Well, we have, what we have now, the 457B, we refer to it as the deferred
As a
compensation.
deferment compensation, right?
Mhm. I think we should, I'm sorry, Mayor?
I'm sorry, could Mr. Castellano bring back both under comparison?
Well, that would be the whole idea of the
Right.
presentation, is
Okay.
to put them some kind of
Would someone
side by
like to make
side.
that motion?
We have a motion here.
Would someone like to
I'll
amend that?
second.
We have a motion made by Mr. Reyes, seconded by Mr. Garcia.
Okay. To approve. To approve?
To
Okay.
approve what, though?
No, it
To
was
approve
a
to direct
motion
staff?
to direct staff to bring back presentation about the pension plan and pay rates for city employees.
So you'll amend your motion.
So not the deferred compensation.
I think that was included with the pension. Like it's,
Well, it's two different things, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to add it in.
So you
Provide a
have a
comparison.
retirement plan and you have a pension plan. They're two different things.
Well,
Mo-
we're gonna
motion-
research. We need
motion
to
to
research
direct
a pension
staff.
plan, because we don't have
No,
one.
he has to do it because he.
Correct, so we can bring back the pension plan information.
We could?
So make the motion. Who's gonna make the motion?
So it's gonna be the motion to bring back a presentation about a pension plan and the
Deferred compensation?
deferred compensation and pay rates for city employees.
No,
Okay, so
Go ahead.
the pay rates, we're doing a salary analysis that was gonna be presented during budget workshop. That can't happen overnight, right? Because we're doing our research, and right now working on those salary analysis for the job descriptions for next fiscal year. Our first budget workshop starts in May. That's when we were planning on bringing the pay rates, because we have to go out and do a salary analysis on every job description that is out there.
So just the beginning portion.
Okay, so it would be, again, motion to direct staff to bring back a presentation about a pension plan and
Deferred compensation.
deferred compensation.
Do we have a second?
Second?
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colombia Lobos.
Yes.
Do we have a motion to go into executive?
Motion to go into executive? Second.
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Muted.
9:14.
Unmuted.
It is 9:14. This meeting is called to order.
Mayor, if I may, make motion to delete items 42 to 44, please.
Thank you.
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 45, discussion and action on the sale of the property located at 14248 Fortuna.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
To sell for the appraised value, Mr. Nevares?
Yes, ma'am. For the appraised value.
And
Still
we have a-
second.
We have a speaker for this item, Javier Dominguez.
Bueno, una vez más, buenas noches. Buenas noches. Me encuentro aquí una vez más para, ¿verdad? Pues, si decidieron venderme la propiedad que está ahí en el 14248 Fortuna.
Explíqueles la razón que la quiere comprar.
Pues como les dije la vez pasada, ¿verdad? Es que mi hija vive atrás en la propiedad donde yo vivo, pero esa propiedad es peligrosa porque por ahí pasa un río. Entonces ya todos los vecinos, muchos dejaron sus terrenos ya porque algunos les llevaron la corriente, les llevaron las trailas que tenían ahí. Entonces algunos le metieron algunas demandas a esas compañías porque no les avisaron que estaban en mucho peligro. Entonces esa es la razón por la que yo quiero que me vendan esa propiedad porque mi hija tiene dos niños, ¿verdad? Una niña y un niño, entonces quiero sacarla de ahí porque es peligroso para ella. Esa es la razón.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
So, aprobaron vender la propiedad. Yo mañana me comunico con usted, ¿sí? Para hablar un
muchas
poquito más.
Gracias.
Gracias.
Item number 46, discussion and action regarding Lorenzo Lara et al. v. City of Socorro, Texas, cause number 2021 DCV 0352 in the 120th District Court.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Approve the settlement.
Let's approve the settlement.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Item number 47, discussion and action and consultation with legal counsel concerning legal issues relating to the damage to vehicle owned by Beverly Rivera.
Motion to approve the settlement.
Second.
Ruben Reyes?
Yes.
Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
Ruben Reyes? Cesar Nevares?
Yes.
Alejandro Garcia?
Aye.
Rudy Cruz?
Yes.
And Ivan Colom Villalobos.
Yes.
Meeting
night,
adjourned at
everyone.
9:17 p.m. Have a good night. Stay
Good
warm.
night. Be safe.